Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about multiple upcoming snowstorms, and we're not including the first one, so there's actually a third one that has popped up that we're going to talk about within this video. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Now, I would also highly recommend that you check out our very awesome Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, what do you think is going to happen with that third snowstorm? Give me your initial thoughts, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video, and we're taking a look at the simulated radar for that first storm real quick, just to get a little bit of an update. I had a lot of areas, people in Nebraska commenting, saying that they got a ton of snowfall with this one, and it absolutely was a major snowstorm. So it sounds like it went as expected for many regions. We're still seeing some heavier snowfall going on for Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan. So a lot of you guys, your snowfall is still to come. It's not said and done yet at all by any means. Later in the day today, that's going to creep up northward, a little bit further north into Michigan. We do see a lot of freezing rain going on in Pennsylvania and surrounding regions. And then as we clear into the nighttime hours tonight, this is by about maybe 1 a.m., you can see that we start to see some moderate to heavy snowfall going on for the Northeast, but they actually look to get a pretty decent amount of snowfall with this system. It looks a little bit wetter than originally anticipated, so we might see some areas cross over 6 inches or more for the northeastern United States. Very interesting scenario there. What we're going to do here is we're going to move on and finally take a look at that snowstorm for the Southeast. It actually looks like it's kind of coming back. So we've seen the models jump all over the place. I'm just going to let you know my confidence in these models right now for this storm is pretty low because they are jumping all over the place. We'll talk about all of that in just a moment. All right, now here we are taking a look again at that NAM 3KM model. That's the model we've been using throughout this video so far, by the way. I forgot to mention that. By about, I would say this is probably about 7 p.m. there on Wednesday. We're going to see some precipitation for the Southeast. Obviously, you can see that. We do see some snowfall going on for Texas, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana. Still some lingering snow showers for the Northeast, but eventually you can tell this is definitely has a lot of potential with it. Look at all that precipitation. We see this move over into North Carolina. So the NAM 3KM, even I'm in Southeast Virginia, the NAM 3KM says you're too far north. This is going way south of you. So in this scenario, we would see a North Carolina exclusive snowstorm basically. And this actually does remind me of a snowstorm we had many years ago. I am kind of local to the area, so I have a little bit more experience for this region. But I think it was in maybe 2014 or 2013, possibly even 2015. But it looked like it was going to be exclusive for North Carolina, and they did get a general 2 to 3 inches for most of North Carolina. But that did creep up into Virginia. It did trend a little bit further north there at the very last minute, and that's kind of what I'm getting the sense of here. So let's just, on that note, move on. In a minute, we're going to take a look at that 12KM NAM, which is kind of the lower resolution NAM model, but it is different. And then even the GFS model, which is kind of the even lower resolution version of the two NAM models. They're kind of related very loosely. So we're going to take a look at all of that in a moment. All right, so here's the NAM 12KM model, and as you can see, it is a little bit further north here than the NAM 3KM model. So we see Kentucky, Tennessee still seeing snowfall, the Smoky Mountains, which have had a lot of snowfall this year, actually. They've way overperformed, had a great winter there so far. And then we see northern central North Carolina as well as northeastern North Carolina. And this is, by the way, about 11 p.m. on Wednesday. So this has it starting very early. We originally thought maybe 5 to 7 a.m. on Thursday would be when this is starting. But no, the very late p.m. hours on Wednesday is when some of these models are showing it starting. So we've kind of gotten to an earlier start. As you can see on the NAM 12KM model, by the time we reach about 2 a.m., this actually gets even snowier and colder, obviously, as we reach later into the night. Most of eastern North Carolina, most of southeastern Virginia seeing moderate to heavy snowfall by this point on this model. And then on the GFS model, this is by about maybe 5 a.m. or so on Thursday. You can see that this one also has very moderate to heavy snowfall going on with a 997 millibar low pressure center that has trended a little bit north there on that 6Z run. Even 0Z last night, which is the run before this one that came out last night, also showed it in a pretty similar location. So they are generally trending a little bit further north, which is very typical, mind you, in the last minute hours of an event. So we're pretty close to being about 48 hours or less away from this storm. There's still some wiggle room for sure. And then by the time we reach about maybe 7 or 8 a.m. here on Thursday. You can see still a lot of snowfall going on. The RGEM model is also interesting here. So this one, we're starting out at about maybe 12 a.m. You can see that snowfall has not reached eastern North Carolina or Virginia. But what eventually happens is it kind of curves a little bit, and we get that kind of south to north banding going on for North Carolina and Virginia as well. And by the time we reach maybe about 10 a.m. here, it's still going on. So what we're going to do here is we're going to move on, take a look at the snowfall totals for that second snowstorm, and then we're going to get into that potential third snowstorm, which looks to be the most major out of any of them that we've taken a look at this entire month of January. So I'm very excited to talk about that one. All right, so first things first here is that European model. We haven't really talked about this one because it shows practically nothing. So this is the one model that is not on board yet. Today, I encourage you to join Weather Freaks, the group, because it's going to be an exciting day for a lot of us. If the European model hops on board at any point, that is going to be it's going to be a party, okay? Because everybody in that group is hoping for snow. Everybody wants snow, so it's going to be crazy if these models start trending snowier and snowier. Here's that NAM 12KM model, and as you can see, for North Carolina, a general 1 to 2 inches within all of those gray and blue areas. Southeastern Virginia, the closer you are to the border of North Carolina and Virginia, the more snow you look to possibly receive there. And then our GFS model also is a little bit south of that Virginia-North Carolina border with the bullseye, but generally Southeastern Virginia for the most part on this model is looking at maybe even 3, 4, 5 inches, and in those purples even 6 inches plus. So if there is a northern trend, we would see more and more and more. And then here's that RGEM model, which as you can see also brings a general 1 to 3 to even 4 inches there for southeastern Virginia and eastern North Carolina. Very, very interesting here. You can tell there's a major amount of agreement there that there's going to be actually a pocket of generally 2 to 4 inches of snow within those blue regions outside of the European model. That's the only one saying it will not happen. So let's go ahead and take a little bit of a look at that third snowstorm here. As you can see, we're starting out at about, at about 2 a.m. on Sunday, January 31st. So we're still a little bit of a ways away from this one, but it's not too far at this point. And we generally see quite a bit of snowfall throughout multiple regions, but especially the Ohio Valley there and then the Great Lakes as well. And eventually this does move offshore of the Northeast by about Monday, February 1st. And we're seeing moderate to heavy snowfall up in New England, the Northeast, especially southern New England there. And this does actually move pretty close to the coast of Massachusetts there on February 2nd at about 11 a.m. with some moderate to heavy snowfall. Now, the European has a very, very different solution with this one, which is expected this far out. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on and then take a look at that. And then after that, we're going to get into some other models. And then finally take a look at my confidence tab for both of these upcoming snowstorms. Obviously, the first one is already underway, so my confidence is very high. So I'm not even going to show that. But the two other ones I'm going to show you the confidence tab for later on in this video. All right, now here we are taking a look at about 8 a.m. there on Monday, February 1st. This one gets to a little bit of a later start with this snowstorm, but you can tell there's plenty of snowfall going on for the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and portions of the Mid-Atlantic here by this point. It's a little bit more southern based here on our European model. By the time we reach about 8 a.m. on Tuesday, February 2nd, you can see from DC up through Philadelphia up through into New York City, we're seeing moderate to heavy snowfall in this model with a 994 millibar nor'easter offshore of the Mid-Atlantic. So this is a much different solution, and it moves pretty much offshore from that point, which has been the trend for a while now. Most of these storms that we've seen recently are moving straight off the coast, not up the coast, which has kind of limited how major these storms can be. But in this case, we have a 994 millibar low pressure center expected that tightly hugs the Mid-Atlantic coast and then moves out. We could see major snowfall from this one. And even for southern New England, it looks like there is some potential there. Let's take a look at that Canadian model real quick as well. And this one starts out at about 7 or 8 a.m. there on Monday as well. Plenty of snowfall going on for similar regions. And then eventually this one kind of turns into a nor'easter as well with a 987 millibar low pressure center offshore of New England, bringing moderate to heavy snowfall for Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, upstate New York, and even Massachusetts, and then even the southern New England states. So we're going to need to update you guys on that storm continuously. obviously for the next couple of days, we will also be talking about that mid-Atlantic or southern mid-Atlantic kind of southeast snowstorm going on as well. I'm going to have a snowfall forecast out for that storm in the coming days. I wanted to wait till tomorrow at least, so I will be releasing that. And then I think this one for February 1st, the last day of January as well, is going to be our next topic to talk about. So our confidence tab for that southeast more minor snowstorm is at about a 4, so we're very close to a 50% confidence here. There's one model, the European model, that shows practically nothing, but my general consensus is that there is going to be a couple of pockets of 2 to 4 inches of snow, like I said. So we're going to be watching for that. Tomorrow we will pinpoint that down, and hopefully we will move up to a 5 or a 6 on that confidence tab, depending on how much agreement we get with the models. For that third snowstorm, we have a low. We have a 1 confidence because this storm is just popping up. We have major disagreement on the models, and there's a long way for us to go before we know exactly what's going to happen with that one. But it's just to the point where we feel comfortable talking about it. I am rather confident that there will likely be some sort of snowstorm. We're just going to need to pinpoint what that's going to be. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys yesterday, how much snowfall do you see happening with that southern mid-Atlantic minor snowstorm? And Zeta Derv said 3 to 6 inches of snow. I think 2 to 4, but that's a very, very close estimate to what I'm thinking. So good comment of the day by Zeta Derv. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Sebastian Tao, John Benbenek, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry LePan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aiden Mattis, alongside our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Alan Sherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Terry Curtis, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Alicia Davis, Mark J, Luke Falago, Gary's, and John Quilisi. If you would like to be on this Patreon end screen of the day, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.